Good morning, everyone. This is Brad Matheny. Today is the 9th of July. This is the Plan Your Trade video for July 9th. And we're going to start off by taking a look at today. We are looking at a momentum rally pattern in carryover mode. So as of yesterday, we had the flat down pattern starting out the week. You know that I highlighted the fact that I thought this would move into a fairly strong trending mode here with the momentum rally in carryover mode, the gap up higher in trending mode, the breaking pattern in counter trend mode, which again could be a very wild day on the 11th. And then we get the carryover in carryover mode. Now the carryover is going to be a carryover of this general trending week. So it's really dependent on what happens here on the 11th. I'm estimating that this is going to be a carryover move to the upside. Then we get on the weekend, the big crush pattern. Remember, the way I look at weekends is that weekends are psychologically important, not necessarily price important. So here we have a crush pattern, then a reversal rally in trend mode, and then in both in trend mode. So this is basically like a pullback and then reversal rally in a weekend. Then we move into and remember, I have modified this to a exhaustion rally, then an exhaustion carryover, and a possible breakdown into a major crush in counter trend mode. Now, a crush in counter trend mode, depending on what's actually taking place, would be a large range pattern moving against general 3 to 5 day trending. So we're going to see how this plays out into the 18th before we get into bearish exhaustion, which should kind of be near a bottom. Then we move into a top pattern, a flat down, a harami inside, a temporary bottom, and then a top resistance. This shows me that we're going to be struggling potentially here. A top pattern means we move higher, set up resistance, and a move down. Flat down would be an inside kind of a sideways day like we saw yesterday. Harami inside day would be another inside day. Temporary bottom means we move down, find support, and then rally higher. And then top resistance would mean we move higher, find resistance, and then move lower. So I think we get into some volatility here after this bearish exhaustion. And that's why I mentioned to you, I think that we're looking at kind of a bigger extended trending pattern setting up right in this area. So today's momentum rally, let's take a look at this. So, I've drawn this data. This was yesterday. We had that narrow day. Let me try to get over here, bring the candles to the front. Very narrow, flat down day yesterday. And let me move this and to this. Kind of hard to see, I know, with all my line drawings, but you can see here we had a very narrow, flat day yesterday. Very tight, very narrow. Remember, I considered it a flat down day in a general uptrend. So I believe that we were going to continue to melt upward, and that would transition us into this momentum rally day here. And the momentum rally day, right now, the SPY pre-market is 556.34. It's up a full point, about 0.20 percentage points. And I really do believe that we could be seeing trading here up above basically 558, possibly up into the 560 area on a good solid momentum rally. So understand that if we come down here to a 30-minute chart and, of course, spread this, give us a little bit of real range here. I think we could see a very strong opening price move. And I think we could see try to get this set up here, an opening kind of in this area, setting up potentially a fairly strong momentum move up into this 560 area, kind of in this area as a potential closing price level. So now we do have this big line here. This, let me come back to this weekly scale and this upper channel line here. So here's our weekly level. And what I want you to be aware of is that we do have very strong resistance or moderate resistance up in this yellow line area. So we come back down here to the 30-minute, and that yellow line area is going to put us right up into that 560 area. So actually a separate yellow line. So we have that resistance area up here. I'll make this a different color. Make it light red. So we still have a ways to go. Tomorrow, with the carryover, with the gap up higher pattern, we could see quite a bit of movement up into this channeling 564, 565, maybe 566 even. But today, I think we get a good solid momentum rally, and I think it leads to higher prices. And I think it leads to, again, this is going to be potentially a 3/4 of a point to maybe 1 percentage point move. That would put us at basically somewhere between 561 to 563 as a potential target. And then tomorrow's gap up higher, I think, moves us into a very solid gapping pattern. So assuming we closed here, we would maybe gap up into this area, and then we would roll higher all day long and possibly even up into this higher area, giving us a range of, let's say, at 566 to 569, let's just say in this area, which would be, ideal for our crush pattern. So understand here our breaking, up and down pattern. When we get into this mode here of breaking, what we're looking for is some sort of a big breakout type of move, something that breaks out of the previous bar. So if this is our bar range, and we're going to see what it is on Wednesday, then this Thursday pattern is likely going to break. So depending on how high we gap, let me do this. So depending on how we gap, and this is very important to understand, that gapping could be a very big gap, like we saw a couple weeks back. We had that big gap and we haven't filled it yet. We could get another big gap here. We could get some kind of news, big gap, rolling into a moderate trend here. And then that gives us the range for the day on Wednesday from basically here to here. Okay. Now, a breaking pattern could open up here and then break down, or it could hypothetically, let's try this again, open down here in the middle of the range and break up. So understand that a breaking pattern typically is a break of the previous range. So we're looking at a break of this range taking place at some point on Thursday. So we have our Monday, we have our Tuesday, we have our Wednesday, and we have our breaking pattern on Thursday. The breaking pattern, again, is going to likely be a break of the previous range, potentially a very wide range rotation, which is why I'm drawing this big wide bar here. And we have to be aware that that breaking pattern will lead to a consolidation and then what is going to likely be an exhaustion peak. And the exhaustion peak is going to be this pattern here, taking place right here. This is going to be our exhaustion peak pattern. This is what I believe is going to be the top. And we just have to wait through this move. So you have basically 2 days of very solid trending. Then you get very wild rotation. You get a bit of consolidation. And then I believe this is going to be our topping pattern with a last engulfing pattern. Then we move into sideways downward trending, which is exhaustion back down into this flagging pattern that I've shown you before. So far, so good. Okay, we're up at 556.30, up about 1 point. We're moving and inching a little bit higher. Let's take a look quickly at the QQQ, roughly the same setup. So here we go. You can see I've already drawn this. QQQ is opening at 449.05. So we have pre-market right here, 449.05. More than likely, folks, we're going to estimate, I'm going to estimate something along the lines of an opening price level, kind of like here, and then moderate melt up all day, maybe ending in this let's say 504 to 506 area. And then we get the gap, the breaking pattern, the gap up, what was it? The gap up higher tomorrow. So gap up higher tomorrow is going to give us a pretty solid gap. So we're going to probably gap up here and then higher up into this area. And then we're going to probably see some big breaking pattern. Remember, has to break that range. So a breaking pattern could be to the upside up here or somewhere down here. I'm believing we're going to probably have a breakdown in this pattern because, like I said, I think we're going to roll down into this flagging formation into the NASDAQ and the SPY. It makes sense to me that that's what's likely to happen, but we'll see when we get there. Okay, so we are holding our own. We look like we're going to have a pretty nice little rally here this morning. Again, target on the SPY is probably going to be somewhere up into the 559.5 to maybe 561.5 to the upside. And we have more activity carrying over into Wednesday. So this rally should carry over into Wednesday. Probably late in the day on Wednesday before I would say we're pretty close to an end. Now, remember, we have that last engulfing pattern over here. Let me try to move this. So we're moving up into this top, just like I predicted. And remember, these were predicted weeks in advance. And it's just a matter of interpreting them and trying to apply them efficiently to what we're doing. But these were predicted literally 2.5 years in advance, if you really want to know. But the predictions, like I said, are relevant to how cleanly price is reacting to these patterns and how efficient price trend is. So it's not always just, oh, look, we can just ignore everything else and follow these patterns. There's a lot into this. These patterns must align with general consensus of the markets. I do a lot of research into trying to apply these efficiently for you and for my subscribers. The point behind this is that if you have a skilled operator, so to say, like a skilled race car driver or a skilled pilot, they can accomplish quite a bit. Excuse me, still early in the morning out here. Okay, so we're setting up pretty well today for a nice solid upward rally for the next couple of days, maybe 3. And then we get into this topping pattern here. And like I said, this bar here could be very explosive. We will see. All right, guys, more later.